Open your eyes.
Please welcome with me Bud Osborn.
Well, thank you all so very much for being here this morning. I'm going to read a kind of a three-part poem, with the first part being the consequences I myself and many other drug users who came from the very bottom of society experienced. And then a brief history of struggle and resistance against the wrath of drug prohibition, and finally a song of hope and resistance. Just as we hope a momentum will build from this day forward to end drug prohibition in the downtown East Side. Before many of us knew we were barely alive, we knew childhood afflicted by violence, terror, abandonment, beatings, loss, and chaos. We became antisocial, kicked out of schools. We became runaways to get out of the rain, out of the frozen night, out of hunger and empty pockets. We gave our bodies for survival sex. We mutilated ourselves, our trust crushed. We shattered relationships we desperately wanted but had no idea how to strengthen and sustain. We were forced into knife blade near-death situations and often came close to dying, and only drugs helped. Helped us to feel like we weren't the worst people in the world. We felt the bite of handcuffs when they closed tight on our wrists, and we have never forgotten the sound a cell door makes slamming shut. We stole, lied, committed crimes we didn't want to get money for drugs, weak drugs, burn drugs, poison drugs. And we've been used to fuel epidemics and extremely profitable industries of corrupt law enforcement and criminal gangs, cartels, DEA, CIA, and prison apartheid and media demonization and expanding bureaucracies of health professionals and political fodder, and multitudes of experts and doctors who think they understand our suffering better than we do. We gave up everything to erase the pain, nerve-burning, bone-cracking pain, gutter alley doorway pain, soul-crushing pain. And we kept running from a war declared on drug users, a war declared on us, just to feel relief for a few hours. And then, after a few minutes or hours of joy and peace and sleep, our need and trouble would descend upon us all over again. And yet we found strength in our suffering, and that strength will bring about the abolition of drug prohibition. Because we are a community that gives our lives, even in pain and grief, a healing solidarity. In 1997, because the community of the downtown East Side had the highest rates of HIV, AIDS, and overdose deaths among drug users in the Western world, we wrapped thick chains around light poles at the corner of Main and Hastings immobilizing motorists who were handed leaflets revealing the horrific situation. We then marched to this very park where we placed 1,000 crosses, memorializing 3 years of overdose deaths and protesting the depraved indifference towards impoverished, ill drug users. A First Nations elder sang and drummed for the sake of all living beings. 3 years later, we planted 2,000 crosses right here in respect of those who died from overdose deaths in the preceding years, and in solidarity with families who, because of drug prohibition, experienced excruciating losses of family members. I remember being on radio talk shows and hearing murderous ghosts of human beings calling and actually telling me such things as, why don't they just string barbed wire around the downtown east side and let them infect each other to death? But in 1998, we had begun organizing the Vancouver area network of drug users. Our first office was less than a block from here, and a social justice movement to save lives was underway and gained momentum, leading to the opening of Insight. Because we endured and saved others, we defeated even death and began to speak our grief, our cruel blues, our suffered truth. Hundreds of users exclaiming a song from scarred flesh and courageous souls. From overdoses, TB, guest fees, street sweeps, chokeholds, and Hep C. A song wrung from harassment and exclusion. A song flown from the hearts of the last and the least. A song of hope. You can criminalize our pain, pulverize our human rights, dehumanize us with charity, but we are somebody. You can terrorize with hate, demonize with lies, lock us up, tear us down, try to drive us out of town, but we are somebody. We are a strong and revolutionary community. And no one can be the human beings they ought to be if we aren't the human beings we ought to be. Nobody can be anybody all by themselves. So whether others deny it or whether we embrace it, we are each other's brothers and sisters. We are each other's only chance for a life in common and real beauty. We are all each other has. We are all somebody. Thank you for listening.